Hello, beautiful divine women. Welcome to day 2 of the Pleasure Queen Festival. I have Kali on this shoulder. We're not going to be invoking Kali today, but we are invoking Lilith and Pele. And the dark goddesses as a group are very protective. They're all about declaring boundaries. They're all about protection and love and the fierce mother love. Okay, so there's nothing to fear. A lot of times when we say dark goddesses, people think bad or wrong or negative, and they are none of the above. So we're just saying that. And I am going to get this into my abalone shell so I can get it to stick. So usually what I do is I just let a little bit of the wax drip off from the shell. And eventually, I have to scrape it out because it gets to be kind of a lot after I've done a lot of ritual. But the nice thing is when you do it that way, it holds itself up. So again, I want to remind everybody that this is your time, your sacred space. So we're leaving everything outside. From this moment forward, there is nothing but you, your essence, the goddesses that we're calling in, your sisters. We're here focusing on the present moment, which is always, goddess is always about immanence. And the gods are important. And in our course, the Pleasure Queen 6-month immersion, we do bring in the pairing of gods and goddesses. Like, for example, we're going to talk about Lalita today, and she is also a consort of Shiva. She represents immanence, the embodiment. Shiva represents transcendence. So we're not, when we're talking about goddesses, we're not wanting to necessarily talk about transcendence. We're talking about the real embodied lived experience of the divine here on earth in our bodies, which is so important to remember and quite often forgotten. So that's why we're here, to have a remembrance. So yesterday you met the 6-member Goddess Council and discovered which goddess guide has special medicine for you this weekend. If you couldn't be there live, you can go back and do the oracular game in the replay. So the replays, I decided to do this high definition. The replays were taking like all day long. So I found something to hopefully compress them a little bit. So I think they'll start going up faster. And then I will let you know as soon as they're back up and you can go right in and check them out. So I'm going to run through our divine itinerary for the day. And then we'll get right into our sacred workings with the goddesses. So we're going to open the sacred space to our pleasure vortex by calling in Goddess Isis to protect and fortify us. And we're going to call in the dark goddesses. So the dark goddesses will work with us today, and it's very auspicious because they're going to help us prepare for this full blood moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which, depending on where you live in the world, is either going to be tomorrow or late tomorrow or Monday. So if you want to light a candle, mine is black as I showed you. And if you wish to have a crown to place on your head, we call in the sovereign code of Isis. You could have a crown. And if you don't need one. So our presenter today is Yael Wolf with her talk on the sacred work of the dark goddess. And then we'll have a brief breakout session to reflect on her insightful presentation with some prompts. And we'll see how many people come. If it's just the 4 of us, then we're the breakout session. But people can come in at any time. So just, remember to stay focused. And I think you will once we get into the rituals and the ritual work, which we're going to start in a moment. And then we're going to end our day together with a puja to the pleasure goddess Lalita. So I'm calling this a body puja. It's a little different than a traditional puja, where we are actually taking objects and the energy and touching parts of our body. So we're going to use some of the elements of a puja, like Let me see here. Lift this up without upsetting everything, but I have my flowers. I have a little cup of water. Let's see, maybe I could just angle this down for a second and not spill everything. As you can kind of see, I have, here we go. There we go. Ah, it rolls off. That was my yoni egg crystal. And there's a card, a picture of Lalita. There's a fruit offering for her. The incense is here. I'm using myrrh. And I have just a shungite crystal here for protection as well. So if you don't have your puja objects, not to worry. Again, I'm going to be doing this for all of us. But when the time comes, I'll give you a moment or two if you need to gather some things. Okay. And in case you weren't here yesterday, I will do a quick introduction. I'm Chris Seraphine, and I'm a channel of the goddess and the sacred feminine. So I channel goddess energies. I help women learn how to do the same, and then teach them how to embody the codes of 6-dimensional goddess guides that you met yesterday and that we'll continue working with today and tomorrow. I'm an author, teacher, coach, copywriter, and leading archetypal brand strategist. I've worked for some pretty big brands. I've worked for E! Entertainment Television, Paramount Pictures, Disney, ABC, Perry Ellis, and Citrix Online. And I've been very much involved with working with goddess since about 2002. So a bit of time. And then 8 years ago, I founded the Pleasure Queen Collective free Facebook group, and also the creatrix of the Pleasure Queen 6-month immersion, where we really do a deep dive for 6 months. And this is what you're getting a taste of this weekend. So in the 6-month immersion, you unleash your inner sensual goddess, embody the riches of all that energy, and you begin to live in deeper alignment with your holy femme power through initiation into the 6 higher dimensional divine feminine codes. So I would say this is a immersion for busy, overwhelmed, and pleasure-deprived women, so you can release yourself from old wounds, limiting beliefs, and the patriarchal paradigm that keeps us in this, we're talking about this loop, this constant loop of doing, this constant loop of the gravity of the social energy of how we're pulled back into patterns constantly that we want to break free of. So, this festival is designed to help you do that. And what we all need is these little reminders to keep doing the work. I need to do it every day. And, even if I can't do it every day, doing it at least once a week, or even some of these practices, like we're going to do the sovereignty practice that we did yesterday, but now we're really going to bring in Isis with it. But really it takes 5 minutes. And so again, just starting your day with certain easy rituals really makes the big difference. So we want to make sure that you feel luscious and you have this life soaked through and through with pleasure, and that you love this life and your business and your relationships, and everything feels more feminine and beautiful and graceful. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm here on the planet so we can lead this pleasure queen revolution and collectively uplevel the face of the feminine in all areas of power, business, government, education, the environment, and really embody our sacred work in the world. And that way we carry all of this illumination to help show others the way, right? When we stand up and lead, people take notice. And that, some people may be triggered, which is, again, why we're bringing in the dark goddess, because it's really important for us to recognize the shadow in ourselves and in others, and not think that we're wrong or bad because someone doesn't approve of our work or someone doesn't like us. And it's a lot of times because they're triggered by what we are shining, what we represent. So I really want you to find your own way to your holy feminine power so you can help others find their way. Yes, yes. Any quick questions before we dive in? I'll put the chat up here. Okay, and you can type them in the chat if you have anything as we go along. All right, we're going to begin with a sovereignty ritual of remembrance with Goddess Isis. So we're setting our sacred space for this pleasure vortex right here, right now. A lot of times I use my essential oil more as an anointing, but I feel like I want to use it now to help me evoke and call in Isis. And I'm using Blue Lotus. This is one of her particular holy essential oils. Because, you know, essential oils are so magical. The sense of smell is really magical because it, you know, there's no filter. Everything passes into the limbic brain and it kind of breaks up and brings forward old memories. So we could do this again later, but I'm needing it right now to really get myself grounded in Isis. And we're going to show her picture for a moment. Isis is the goddess of magic and alchemy, and obviously sovereignty. Her very name, Aset, means throne. So when we bring in Isis, her wings protect us. Her sovereignty helps lift us up and give us that strength. And she is all about the power of sexuality and in the sacred way of bringing our lost pieces of ourselves, calling it back. Okay, so you can close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. It is through the divine pleasure of the seventh dimension we call upon Divine Queen Isis to enter our space, our minds, our souls, and our bodies. It is through our seventh chakra that her divine sovereignty codes shine through and enter our body. We ask that this happen now with gentleness, ease, and grace. Another deep breath. Just allowing yourself to expand, feeling protected, relaxing into that expansion. We call to you, O Queen Isis, holy, sovereign, divine queen, mother of Horus, beloved of Osiris. We anchor your energy into the space for protection and for awakening of sacred pleasure, to help us find all the pieces of ourselves, the unclaimed and unloved pieces, so that we can call each one back, so we can be whole and in our full sovereign power. We are here, we are ready to receive you. Isis resides in the third eye chakra and crown chakra. And what I want you to do now is open your eyes. And I want you to look at your image on screen, not mine. No one else's. I'm going to put this in gallery mode for a moment. But gaze into your own eyes. And then if you have a crown, place it on your head. If you don't, you're just going to use your hands. So the gesture is, you know, holding the crown. And as you look at yourself, just place it on your head. So this is a very highly potent symbolic action that I encourage you to do each morning, even while looking at yourself in the mirror. Okay. So spend a moment looking at your divine, holy face and crown, gazing into your eyes, and feel how different it feels to have a crown on your head. You're lifted, your spine is strong and straight. You are evoking, you are calling in, you are a pillar of strength, a column of strength. In Hindu temple dance, we call this the Varanasi. And there's this lifting of the chin. Everything is lifted. The chest is open. It's very open and lifted stance. And it's called the stance of courage. Now I want you to shift and begin looking at your sisters and gazing at them, appreciating their beauty, their sovereignty, as they are appreciating yours. Feel how the eyes may be watering a little bit. Everything softens, right? Everything softens. Because we're connecting heart to heart as queens and acknowledging and in reverence that regal quality that is our birthright that we all possess. So I'm going to call in the code of Isis. And if you wish, you may again close your eyes. And what I want you to visualize is that image of Isis with her big, giant, beautiful wings, her crown of gold, magic flying from her fingertips. And she's surrounded by a beautiful blue aura, a very deep blue, sparkling like the stars at midnight. Isis, ancient one, goddess of magic, fertility and motherhood, and death, healing and rebirth, first daughter of Geb, the god of earth, and Nut, the goddess of the sky, born on the first day of the first years of creation. Sister of Osiris, who later became your husband, as well as Set and Nephthys, you who bore a son by Osiris named Horus. In your Sothis aspect, the blue star Sirius, you are the divine ancestral star mother and connection to our star lineage. Every 470 days each year, you disappear from view, and your people believe that you, as goddess Sothis, follow your husband, Sa, the alternate name for Osiris, into the underworld. When you rose again, it was approximately at the same time as the annual flooding of the Nile River. Flood us with your vision, strength, beauty, and magic. Help us manifest our desired destiny. Help us to rebirth ourselves and our vision for the future. Awaken us into full consciousness as divine creatrixes. We are writing the new myths collectively and individually. We are weaving these new myths into the present moment. We wait not for a future time because we know the time is now. At this moment, we are in Kairos perfect divine timing, and we allow, flow, and receive your energy that we need to create with wild abandon, speed, and accuracy. We no longer look to old roadmaps, but rather create our destiny moment by moment. Beautiful. I'm going to take a sip of water. Let me know in the chat how you're feeling after that, just opening, bringing in of Isis and her sovereignty code. Throat chakra is activated. Still going crazy. And it's going to be really interesting to call in the dark goddesses to see what happens. Okay. I see that Deep Tea says it feels very empowering and grounding. Yes. She is definitely, again, has those wings to lift us up, and at the same time keeps us feeling contained, you know, wrapping those wings around us and her energy around us. And a bit buzzy. Okay. Yeah, that could be the crown chakra activation. She's definitely the sovereign crown goddess. Shirley Ann Aphrodite, calm, grounded, present, and powerful. I love that. Oh, yeah, Yael, you said it feels very empowering, grounding. Okay. Pardon me. So we're going to call in the dark goddesses as that are part of this Pleasure Queen Council. The first one here is Pele. I am going to actually go back to speaker view. So really take in her image. This is from the Susan Boulay, or Susan Seddon Boulay is her name, the artist that created this card deck. It's called just Goddesses. It's like a little mini square deck. It's really nice. So what she says about Pele is that she is the fiery Hawaiian volcano goddess, the daughter of the earth goddess Haumea. Pele came to Hawaii on a boat. Killed in a fight with her sister, the ocean, she took refuge in the glowing cauldron of Mount Kilauea, where she receives the souls of the dead and regenerates them with fire. In tempestuous relationship with Kamapua, the ferocious pig god, she is portrayed as a jealous goddess, her rages manifesting as volcanic eruptions. Revered by Hawaiians even today, she carries the force of the volcano with its molten lava flow, which even in destruction creates new lands. Pele stands for the molten fire, fierce aspect of life that is unable to do anything halfway. She reminds us that even in the midst of fiery eruption, there is creation and new life. And when we went through the council, we talked about Pele. We talked about, you know, those feelings of anger and how often we shove them down because they're not considered womanly or ladylike. And oftentimes when we show our anger and really declare strong, fierce boundaries with people, speak our truth, there are many times when we do get shut down. There are many times when people will turn their backs on us. So it's important to remember that those moments, we need to still stay in that anger, that truth of the anger, so that we can break open and new life comes forth, right? We become reborn. Okay, so we're going to call in Pele. And the energy is going to start to shift. You're going to start feeling the difference. I'm already feeling the difference. So Pele is the bringer of hula also, which is the sacred dance that symbolizes, oops. People are trying to, oh boy. Yeah, I think there's somebody here trying to talk to me about something. It looks like they're canvassing for a candidate, a political candidate. So hopefully they'll get yeah, they're walking away. They got the message. Okay. Wow, Pele is like very magnetic today. So, you know, what you know, Susan Seddon Boulay didn't say is that I think Pele is actually born on Tahiti, and she is banished. And I think because of her fiery temper, she kills people, she kills a village or destroys a village. So that's part of the myth, is this destructive energy that needs to have a container, and at the same time has to be expressed. So, you know, basically Pele gets banished and she's floating around in the ocean on a boat and she hears the beating of drums and chanting, actually coming from the island of Kauai in Hawaii, one of the Hawaiian islands. And she awakens and then she starts dancing. And then so they welcome her to their island. And we have dogs barking now. Can you guys hear all this action going on? So, you know, Pele is very much this fertility goddess. She's very sexy. So there's multiple myths about her lovers. And for some reason, in most of the myths that I've read, they all leave her. So there is this, again, she represents the experience that so many women have had of having a love and losing it. Which again brings us to the dark goddess and the purpose of all the dark goddesses, which is to get us in touch with those deep emotions that we want to repress. Anything repressed, anything that's cast aside, anything that's considered not ladylike, not right, not good, judged in that way, is the realm of the dark goddess. Okay. So she represents healing heartache from the loss of love or abandonment. So again, close your eyes. Let's get back into our healing zone. She's a wonderful teacher for us when we feel jealous or angry. And to take those emotions that people think are ugly, bad, and put them in a container so you can express it. It could be dance, it could be art, it could be a poem, it could be just dancing and shaking to music, just to get it out of your body, to move it through. And then from there, it's about creating healthy boundaries and creating the foundation of your sacred work. You know, she is that lava flow that's melted like earth, fiery melted earth. And once it flows, it cools, and then plants can grow on it, right? And then she's also about becoming the embodiment of your sacred work. Okay, so repeat after me. We're going to call in her names, her sacred names and titles. I'll repeat it once. You repeat it. I say it once, you repeat after me, and then I'll say it again and you repeat after me. We're going to do each one twice. Madame Pele. Madame Pele. Tutu Pele. Tutu Pele. She who shapes the sacred land. She who shapes the sacred land. I'm busy, go away. She who declares boundaries and tells people what's happening. She who shapes the sacred land. Earth-eating woman. Earth-eating woman. Goddess and creatrix of hula. Goddess and creatrix of hula. Okay, so we're inviting her now to really come into our bodies, and you might want to touch different parts of your body that you are feeling her, you know, that you feel that you need her medicine in. Could be your throat chakra to speak the truth, speak what you need to say. Could be your heart for healing and expressing grief. Could be your solar plexus to help you stay strong as you declare boundaries and tell people how you really feel and if they've overstepped their bounds. Pele, help us to release all that no longer serves us right here, right now, and throughout this weekend cycle of the full blood moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. You know, this is a time of letting go, and we release, we release, we release, we release, we let go. And so it is. Okay. We're calling in our next dark goddess, Lilith, another member of the 6 goddess council with us here as the pleasure queens. Lilith is a Middle Eastern goddess of abundance, fertility, and fecundity, the giver of agriculture to humans. The first woman created is also the first wife of Adam in that mythology. She refused to be subordinate to Adam in any way. She's associated with the owl, a figure of darkness and deep wisdom, where she is a goddess of death and transformation. In many cultures and traditions, she is often represented as a demonic figure for her dark wisdom and her sexual energy because she is very threatening. She is associated with the lotus, and the symbolism of that flower tells us much about her. That dark, rank, decaying earth comes this beautiful blossoming, the spiritual unfolding. Like the lotus, Lilith challenges us to look on our dark side and incorporate it into our wholeness so that our great beauty can blossom forth. Her name, Lilith, means the night, and she embodies the emotional and spiritual aspects of darkness, sensuality, and unbridled freedom. You can say in this dark aspect, she also represents the yoni, the sacred gate of woman, receptive and devouring. She's the one you want to connect to so you can utilize and trust the wisdom of your body, because the body always tells us yes or no, or maybe. When someone asks you, will you do this? How many times is your body like screaming no and you say yes, because you're not coming from your body, you're coming from the head, as I touch my little sandalwood there. How many times have you wanted to speak your truth, but were afraid? And not from an irrational fear, a very rational fear, because in the past, when you spoke your truth, maybe you got fired, maybe you got dumped, maybe you were punished in some way. Maybe she is the one who is here to remind us that your life is your life. You are the sovereign of your life. You are the one who determines what you need, what you want, and how to live. She's very uncompromising. So again, as a dark goddess, she is not going to back down from anybody's judgment, anybody's pushing and I can't think of the right word right now, but anybody's expectations of you that do not match your highest purpose. So when you want to connect to your true longings, desires, and wishes, you listen to that yoni voice, to that gut instinct, and then come from there, make decisions from that place. Lilith will really help you with that. She's bold, courageous, and really, again, uncompromising. So remember, your yoni, your pussy, is the seat of your power. To ask for what you want and receive it, no guilt and no apologies. Okay, so close your eyes. We're going to call in Lilith. With honor, humility, and devotion, I call upon Goddess Lilith now to be with us, to bless us and protect us, to bring us the knowledge and wisdom we are thirsting for. So I'm going to ask each of you to send your love and respect to Lilith. And she may come to you in the form of an owl, of a lotus, of herself. Receive her in the way that she shows up for you. It might even just be a feeling. So fully open your heart and mind to her visions for you. These visions are meant to heal you and help you find your true path as a sovereign woman, a truthful and courageous bringer of light. She asks you one question only. Why have you come to be with me today, beloved daughter? And tell her what is bothering you. Tell her what is challenging you. Tell her about your fears, your worries, anxieties. Release them to her. Give them to her care, even if just for this moment. And she will speak to you in words, images, sounds, or feelings, sensations. She is your mother and guide in this moment. And she's here to give you advice to help you access your magic for healing and moving forward in your life with courage, with strength. Okay, so begin to come back to the present moment, into your body. I'm feeling a little bit open. My third eye is really active right now. I'm really feeling it in my third eye. And also my back, a little bit of like my shoulders wanting to move a little bit. So maybe you could even get up if you want, but just kind of allow your body to kind of allow, if it feels like there's a concentration of this energy in a certain part of your body, imagine that you're just kind of letting it flow throughout your whole body. Sometimes, you need to kind of brush the energy down the front of your body, all the way down to your legs and feet and up the back of your legs and your buttocks, your low back, and, your scalp. Really allow yourself to move that energy around. And always remember to take breaths. Breathing is so important. Okay, goddesses, let me know how you felt or how you feel. And if you want to share any quick insights that you got in the chat. Okay, Yael, I love dark goddess energy, so this feels great. I'm very much feeling Lilith right now. I'm wearing your owl necklace. Perfect. Shirley Ann Aphrodite says she feels an invitation. Beautiful. And Deep Tea, you're getting pictures mostly. Okay. Wonderful. So I am just overjoyed to introduce our presenter for today, Yael Wolf. I introduced her a little bit yesterday, but for those of you that weren't here or didn't see the replay yet of the first day of the festival, I first met Yael about 9 years ago when I was teaching a course on how to do business with pleasure and how that makes you more productive and how it helps you become more creative and just to be in the flow and experience business and marketing and all those little pieces you have to do with more ease. So she and I have had a love affair with each other's work now since then. And she also helped me write copy for my newsletter multiple times. And she is my erotica writing coach. So the few things I'll just say about her, she's a writer, artist, and photographer. And she explores what it means to be a woman in a world that has forgotten the feminine. And she's a beautiful temple space, an artistic celebration of female sexuality, and a membership of her Howl. It's called Howl. So it's amazing. So we're going to let this beautiful Yael Wolf howl about the sacred work of the dark goddess. And yeah, she is also a guest teacher in the 6-month Pleasure Queen Immersion. And of course, I couldn't be more honored that she said yes to be here with us today throughout the 3 days of this very first Pleasure Queen Festival. So I am going to, I think I can pin you. There we go. We want to see your beautiful face. So take it away.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to put my timer on so I can make sure I keep in time here. I'm super excited to do this because I feel such a connection to the dark goddess. I always have. I think a lot of people who have struggled with depression or anxiety are familiar with this energy, as I have been since I was a child. But as I discovered over my lifetime, that's something that people shame. It's something that we're uncomfortable with. It's something that people will tell you, oh, just smile, you'll be fine. I think it was about in my 40s when I started to embrace that part of myself and embrace it as dark goddess energy. And middle age, I'll tell you, has been the most amazing exploration into dark goddess energy that I could ever have imagined. What I'm basing the prompts that we're going to work on is an article that I wrote about 6 months ago called The Sacred Work of the Middle-Aged Woman. And it is all about, being in middle age and realizing the things that we have been putting up with our whole life or been told to put up with our whole life, or the compliance that we've been expected to have in the world. I think a lot of us get to the point of 40 and over and we're like, my body literally cannot do this anymore. I literally physically cannot do this anymore. And we start feeling our anger and we start feeling our other negative or dark emotions that the world judges. And I really focus on anger a lot because for me, that has come up in middle age. And this story, I'm going to read a quote from it. One of the frames that I use in this story to describe this as the old fairy tales like Baba Yaga or Hansel and Gretel, where there's an old witch in the woods and the little kids come and they expect her to give her time, her resources, her energy, her knowledge. And in the stories, the kids are the heroes and the witches are the villains. And of course, in some cases, the witches aren't so great, but who knows what they've gone through before. But I want you to keep that in mind as I read this, because this is from that section of the story. The old witch is angry, and folks, she should be. She's been around long enough to have seen all the absolute nonsense going on in the world. She's been inconvenienced, victimized, and hurt by it. And not only that, she's been sidelined into irrelevancy. I mean, where are the stories about her? Who cares about all these damn kids and their problems? She's got problems too. This is what I've learned from these witches who live alone in the deep woods, the old women in the stories who are just like me. We're fed up, we're tired, we're angry. And that's exactly as it should be. Now, the amazing thing about this article is that it is the most viral thing I've ever written. I've never gotten so many comments. I've never gotten so much feedback from it. But I'll tell you, usually when I write about anger, it inspires a lot of discomfort in people, and particularly in women, which I find fascinating. I will get so many comments saying, I don't feel like this is spiritual. I don't feel like this is the right way to go about things. I have literally had people, strangers on the internet, take time out of their day to email me with an intervention saying, I think you need a therapist. I have a therapist, by the way, but I think you need a therapist. Anger is not spiritual. Anger is abusive. There's so many ways that we have taught women to see anger as dangerous because we don't want women to be angry. And I'll get to that later in this. But one of the reasons that I bring this up is that I really want to challenge everyone who's listening to this, because I think that no matter how much we embrace our anger, there's still so much pressure from the outside world for us to shut it down, for us to be quiet about it, for us to reframe it in a spiritual way, right? And we're not talking about anger like screaming at people. I want to think about anger as a lover, a parent, a trusted friend. Anger for women can be like the most loving emotion that could come up for us, because it is telling us when something is wrong. It's telling us when we have a boundary that needs to be put up. It's telling us when we need to protect ourselves or others. These are all acts of love. And so if we start looking at anger in that way, I think we can learn to reframe it. And we take what I'm talking about is taking the feeling of anger and creating enough space for it so that we can make decisions from that space. We can let our anger inform our decisions. It's not about confronting people. It might be, but it's not about a knee-jerk response of screaming at people. That's what I think we have been taught to think about anger. And that's not the only iteration of anger. There's so much more that we can come into a relationship with. So real quickly, I want to refer to the story of Baba Yaga. If you know that story, it's a Russian fairy tale, and I'll tell this pretty quickly just to make sure I stay in time. But the heroine of the story, the young woman Vasilisa, has to go into the woods to this terrifying, and she is painted as this just absolutely terrifying, murdering witch. And Vasilisa, the young, innocent, helpless heroine, has to go into the woods and go to her to ask for a coal to relight the family's hearth. And of course, she is put through an initiation by Baba Yaga. And she's sent there, by the way, I forgot to, this is important, that her stepmother, her evil stepmother and stepsister sent her on this journey. And basically, if she dies at Baba Yaga's hands, great, then we don't have to deal with her anymore. So ultimately, Baba Yaga, after this initiation of all of these tasks that she gives her to do, gives her the coal to take home to relight the family's hearth. And when Vasilisa gets home, the coal comes out of the little skull that Baba Yaga gave her to hold it in and burns the evil stepmother and stepsisters to ash. And that is the power of the dark goddess. And again, we're not taking this literally, but the point is that the power of the dark goddess protected Vasilisa and empowered her and freed her. So I want to let's do our prompts. Chris, do you want to put those up in the chat? So we're going to do 2 minutes for each of these. I'll probably do 1 minute for the last one. We're going to do the last one super fast. So the first one, I'll read it to you now. What are you mad about? You could also do, what are you grieving? What are the words that keep getting stuck in your throat that you can't seem to bring yourself to speak aloud? And these questions are so important because these are the guideposts of that dark goddess potential and how to find it. If you're curious about how do I get in touch with this energy, these are some of the questions you can ask yourself to really understand that energy and find, okay, where is it? Where do I need to point this? So we'll go for about 2 minutes on that.
Hey, Yael, you know, if we need more time,
Mm-hmm.
we can move the Lalita Puja to tomorrow.
Okay. I mean, I can
I
probably
feel like
wrap this
you're
up
like
and-
rushing more than maybe you would normally go. So
okay, don't have to rush then. Okay.
yeah, because I feel like even your tone of voice is rushing. So allow yourself the spaciousness, even though I'm like, yeah, I want to get all these things in. It's always a, you know, desire to do things, but it's not a required.
Okay, gotcha.
Give yourself the breathing space and don't feel like, oh my God. Okay.
Okay, you got it. Thank you.
And I love these prompts, by the way, they're amazing.
Thank you. Okay, should we move on to the next one? You feel like that's okay? Okay. What are you afraid will happen if you express your dark goddess energy? This is a really big one and it can be very scary. So don't be afraid to dive into that. Have you already had negative experiences with that? And if so, how did that make you feel? So we'll do about 2 minutes on that one. Okay, now this last one, I'm going to do just about 1 minute, only because I don't want to give you time to think about it. I want you to just write whatever you think. Okay, so don't stop. Don't censor yourself. What do you want to say no to right now? Okay. Everybody feeling good on that one? Okay. Chris, do you want to share? Do you want to do a share before I wrap up, or how do you want to do that?
Let's see. I'll defer to what feels right to you.
I would love to do a real quick, we can do in the chats or say it, whatever you want, Chris, but I would love to do just the most general, like, let's hear some no's, like, let's celebrate the no's that came up for us. And they don't have to be specific or personal. It can just be like, no, I don't want to go to that party. I can start with some. I just had a few, I had a lot come out, but I'll just say a few, like, no, I don't want to help you. No, I don't want to do that for free. No, I don't want to talk to you. And these were just like, obviously these are attached to attached to specific situations in my life that I was thinking of, but it felt so good to come out and just say that. No explanation, no apology, just no, I don't want to do that.
Beautiful. Okay, so before we all begin, I'm going to shut off the recording just because, this goes public.
Right.
You don't want, people to feel in any way reserved. So I'm just going to pause the recording and we'll just come back. This is good.
So I want to talk about the idea of positioning anger as a lover. You can use any relationship that works for you. That happens to work for me. You can use it as the protective parent, a trusted friend, whatever that is. But I want you to think about anger personified as a figure in your life that is there to enhance you, love you, protect you. And when you start being in relationship with anger like that, it has been my experience, and I've been doing this for about 5 years now, despite what everybody tells me that it's not healthy, that you shouldn't be angry at all, that anger is a sign that love is not present. That's not true. Like, to me, what I have learned is that anger always shows me where the love is, always. And that is what I'm talking about when you look at anger as a like a little literal partner. You start to become curious about it. You start to become curious about how it is speaking to you and what it is telling you, instead of, because, I think that we're very unconscious about anger in this culture, which is why it becomes abusive sometimes. And when we listen to it, it will tell us so much. And part of that listening is listening to our bodies and where the anger is, what the sensations of the anger feels like. And then as you do that, again, it has been my experience that when, for instance, I will say, oh my gosh, I feel this like fire that is building in my stomach, and it's coming up and up and up. And I know that's my sign of, oh, I need a boundary here, because it's coming up to my throat chakra. And it's like, it wants to say something. It needs to make a line in the sand, right? And every time I start feeling that sensation in my body, words that I hear about that are, oh, okay, what do we need to do here? And so I start listening to it as if I'm having a conversation and deciding what is the best way for me to express my anger in this moment. Oh, I think I need a boundary. And again, it's not about that knee-jerk response of, well, blah, 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 you know, like that's not what this is. This is about anger being our teacher and our lover and our protector. Okay, how do we do this? And I feel like that's, to me, I don't know if this was the intended lesson of the Baba Yaga Vasilisa story at all, but for me, that's what I take away is like that old angry, so-called murderous witch in the woods. She is so full of wisdom and she knows how to protect herself and other people. Listen to her, take that fiery coal from her. And I mean, obviously this is like a fairy tale version of this. We're not going to throw coals at people and burn people. We are using that as the image of saying, oh, these people are literally abusing this young child and literally we're sending her to her death. Now they have gotten the power of the dark goddess. They are gone. Vasilisa is protected. And that is what anger can do for us. So to wrap this up, I wanted to say that I want us to remember that we have been taught, particularly as women, our entire lives, to smile, to comply, to be polite. If we have a problem, then ask for it to be fixed in a nice way. Be gentle, be kind. That's what women do. We're supposed to be empathetic. We're supposed to be spiritual, and anger is not spiritual. All of these things. And when you get into your 40s, I think you realize that this is a line from my story. Our obedience accomplishes nothing. Our obedience accomplishes nothing. They ask us to obey. And we do all of the things, we do all of the steps that they give us, we play out the deal the way they tell us to, and we get to the end of it and there's nothing in our hands. We haven't gotten any part of the deal that they promised us. And the reason for that is that they just want us to comply. That's it. There is no deal. There is no payoff for that. Mm-hmm. And it's so important that we embrace this part of ourselves to bring ourselves back together, to bring the goddess back together. I kind of think of this as the virgin and the whore, and that our task is to knit them together. And the whore is the angry woman. The whore is the dark goddess, right? We have to bring her back into this world and normalize her as part of womanhood, the experience of womanhood. And people will be angry about that, ironically. People will be uncomfortable by that. They will be pushing back. You will get emails like I get emails saying you need a therapist. And we have to learn to stand strong in that space of knowing, nope, you know what? I trust my anger. I trust my dark goddess energy. I can do this. I can stand in this, even if people walk away. Because the whole point of this, the whole point of the dark goddess energy and anger and all of those dark goddess emotions is to disrupt the status quo. That is what it is meant to do. And that is okay. That is a great power that women have. And so I just want to encourage everyone to hold that space. It's so, so important. I really, truly feel like this is how we will become whole again and how we will bring the goddess back to wholeness.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Yael.
Thank you.
An amazing presentation. And I love that story. And one of the things that I learned, I think it was either Joseph Campbell, when I was in grad school and studying mythology, we had a whole course, for 2 or 3 months on fairy tales. Mm-hmm. And unlike myths, which are very much distilled, rewritten, and there's a lot of filters, fairy tales, there's no filters. It's like the most pure expression of the unconscious, which is, again, why, these fairy tales, like you talked about, are so Little Red Riding Hood. Yeah. All of those dark, evil, scary stories, that's supposed to get us in touch with those unconscious fears and desires, all of that. So I was thinking that when, you mentioned like the virgin and the whore, the crone and the maiden, right? Yeah. It's very, the crone, is the elder, and she is teaching her a very important lesson, even though she has to be destroyed in the process. She is, again, initiating Vasilisa into her empowered state, whatever you want to call that. Okay, Shirley Ann, would you like to, what came up for you? What would you like to share? And this is, part of the public recording. So
this is the public record. Okay. Going back to anger, I feel anger and violence are lumped into one ball, and they're not.
Yeah.
So as soon as you start talking about anger, it's quickly linked with violence. And they're two completely different things, right? And so I think an angry woman is sexy, when it's real.
Yeah.
She's, she's powerful, she's crazy, unpredictable.
Yes.
And where do we see that? We're all like, it's like we've all taken a pill numbing us out. And so I love this conversation around anger and the darkness. It leads me to, I was thinking, this may not be related, but it is. I was thinking about the conversation around the ego. And oh my God, everyone is vilifying the ego, and the ego needs to be crushed. And, you cannot do anything substantial in this world without your ego.
Right.
Right. And I feel in the spiritual world where, it's like we're numbing everything out and calming everyone down. And enough already.
Yeah.
Enough.
Absolutely.
There's the passion, right?
Where's the passion? Right?
And anger and passion,
Yes.
very close cousins, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's the madness? Where's the aliveness?
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that in. See,
Yeah.
it's like, yes. Deepti, would you like to share your feelings and some insights that you have that you want to add to the conversation?
Yeah. Well, okay. I want to mention a book I read because it's kind of top of mind. There's a retelling of the Baba Yaga story, The Bear and the Nightingale, that I just read.
I've read that. I loved it.
Yeah. I'm writing a fan fiction about it now.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was one thing. But I think also, like if you have a demographic who aren't allowed to express anger, that's kind of a systemic problem, right? Because it's you kind of see that in the overall trends. It's like if only 5 people are allowed to express anger, then they just get what they want and everyone else doesn't.
Yeah.
So I think it's like redistribution or something. Like people, everyone gets to be angry.
Yeah.
To this extent, or more than they do now, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love the idea of
good one.
An angry woman being the most rebellious, dangerous thing in a hierarchical society like ours. That's such a beautiful idea. It's like, yeah, that's what we're here to do. We are here to disrupt the status quo.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then if you also think about men, like young men that protest or showing, or a lot of times they get shot. I mean, there is that violent thing that does. But the thing is, like, not saying that getting shot or being shut down, one's worse than the other or whatever. I'm not making any judgment calls there, but I feel like we're killed every day by these forces in our society and our culture that are like, shut the fuck up.
Yes.
get in line, do your thing. And so it's like that death that happens every time, like Dee said, that you're not allowed to be angry, you're not allowed to speak your truth, you're not allowed those feelings. So, and then what do people do? They do pick up guns, they rape, they take drugs to just numb out more, drink.
Yeah.
It is, you know, having the dark goddess for all people, I think is super important, and bringing her energy. Yael, beautiful. Thank you. Wow, this is so powerful.
Yeah.
Whew. So yes, it is 11. We're almost done with our presentation, our festival for today. So I'm definitely going to move Lalita to tomorrow. So maybe that gives everybody more time to get their Puja objects ready to go. I'm gonna, you know, basically keep mine here. And I just want to, let's see, what do I want to remind everybody of? The yeah, so we're doing a raffle, and the raffle prizes are listed on the replay page. I'll make sure to send that again today, and then, you know, hopefully we'll get these videos up sooner. They're just so big because I'm using high definition. They're like 5 gigabytes. I think one was, you know, it was like, whoa, they're huge because it's a longer presentation, but it just looks so much better. So it's taking a long time, even with them somewhat compressed, to get them up there. But the raffle, all you need to do to enter is to make a donation to your favorite women's nonprofit charity that supports women's sovereignty, women's right to choose, battered women, whatever it is. And it could be local to you. It doesn't have to be a national big organization, because we know a lot of times the money, we don't really know where all that money goes, but sometimes local organizations in your own town will be the most effective. So I'll let you all decide that, but you know, we've got amazing prizes, and all you need to do is make your donation of any amount, doesn't matter, and send me the receipt. And then all the directions really are on the page. But just want to remind everybody that part of this festival is also to not just have a conversation and rituals and all these beautiful goddess embodiments, but also to make a difference. Like, how can we make a difference? And, you know, money is power. Where we put our money is very powerful as queens. And so tomorrow we have amazing, beautiful Shirley Ann Aphrodite presenting and calling in Venus Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. And I don't know, no one really can do that better than Shirley Ann Aphrodite herself. She's just such the embodiment. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you, Yael, again, for what a trip through the dark goddess energies. I feel their energy. I feel that strength, that fuzzy kind of, I can do this. I can do something about this. Yeah. And, you know, maybe a little bit of anger too.
Yeah.
That righteous anger that gets shit done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And before we jump off, I want to reiterate for all of us, for me and anybody watching, is, again, you know, we always talk about this trinity of goddesses, the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone. We talked about this yesterday in our first day of the festival. But what I love is that now that they're starting to add the fourth archetype of women, and that is the queen. Because they're generally associated, you know, obviously we have all aspects of the goddess in us, and we can utilize and work with those aspects when we need to. Like, maybe there are times when we still need the maiden, we need to see things with fresh eyes and have this joyful, playful selves.
Mhm.
We need the mother for nurturing. We need the crone for her wisdom, for, again, that grounding into our wisdom, life experience, and being the mentors. But there's the queen. So the queen, if we're going to talk about her in person years, it's between the ages of 45 and 65, or 50 and 65, around there. And the queen archetype is the sovereign. She's the one who's taken all that maiden energy and life experience and the mother life experience. She's not yet at the crone stage, but she is still has kind of the different aspects of the maiden and the mother combined, and is the vision holder.
Mhm.
If you want to live that deeper life in alignment with your purpose and your desires, that's the queen energy. So we're staying in this energy, letting it wash over us all weekend long, and see you beautiful ladies tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Yeah.